Welcome to Slasher Sunday. So I have got quite the doozy for you guys today. Now I watched the original Patrick a long time ago, and right after I did, I found out there was an unofficial Italian sequel. And my friend Keen and I have kind of a weird obsession with unofficial Italian sequels, whether it be Zombie, which is a unofficial sequel to George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead, or there's a whole laundry list of them out there, and they make no sense at all. How they are labeled, how it's a very confusing subject, and it's something we love to kind of go over. But Patrick, the Australian, um, telekinesis film from what 1978, I think. Well, Italy went ahead and made a film called Patrick Still Lives, and I saw this movie many years ago, and there was one death in particular that stuck out so hard for me that I always wanted to get my hands on a physical copy. But when I would go to eBay or anything to try to find one that was uncut with that kill, it was never available for anything less than like $100, which I was of course not paying. And then you could get the one without the gore, without the like that very specific scene. They had like two different versions. They had the exact same cover. One was uncut and one was cut. The cut one was like $5, and the uncut one was like $100, and it drove me insane. So recently, Severin announced that they were doing a remaster of it on Blu-ray, and I instantly pre-ordered this thing. And my only real memory of this film was that it had a lot of nudity, and it had one super insane kill that I've always wanted to see again. This movie is available on YouTube if you want to check it out there. How the hell that is on YouTube and has been on YouTube for a long time without getting flagged, since there is an ungodly amount of nudity into it, I'll never understand that. But yeah, the Patrick Still Lives Severin Blu-ray in its slipcase. This slipcase is way too tight, and let me tell you, that's not a complaint I usually have. But look at that, dude. Like I can seriously barely get it in. Yeah, the sex jokes are a flowing today. But yeah, that's the cover of that DVD basically, that they wanted so much for. But I got this one for $27, and yeah, there we go. Patrick Still Lives does exist in my collection. There's even nudity on the front. I wonder if I'll get flagged for that, even though this fucking movie's on there for years now, and it has never gotten flagged. And that thing's a straight up porno. I mean, guys, there's a scene where this girl, it gets a close up of her vagina, and she's fingering herself, like shown. She's like out on the outsides and kind of playing around on the inside. So no, there's straight up pornographic X-rated material in here, which I'm not complaining about because that's the hottest chick in the film. Her body's phenomenal. Her tits are incredible. So, and you want to talk about tits in a movie? Holy fuck! Every single female in the movie, all of them, get nude at some point in the movie. So, welcome to Italian cinema, man. And now, is this a slasher? I think so. I mean, yeah, it's done telekinetically, but he's stalking victims with his mind versus his body, and he's killing them in slasher ways. So absolutely, I see this as a slasher, or maybe someone say a giallo, but for me, it's the same thing. We've had this discussion before on the channel. Now, there are giallos that are not slasher movies, but there are definitely giallo movies that are. But anyways, now, for those of you who have not seen this movie, this is going to be a trip to talk about. It's a wild film. I will admit that on this rewatch, I was bored a good amount. There's long stretches of dialogue that I couldn't give a fuck about. And so many things are left unexplored, or the setups are just so poor. But I'm glad I have it in the collection, and I'm glad to talk about it. This might be the only time I ever watch it, unless I want to show somebody this insane kill. Well, we'll get there. So the opening of this movie starts. I mean, it just starts, man. There's no opening credits, no like, production house. No, it just hard cuts to this guy standing on the side of the road, Patrick, and somebody like drives by and throws a bottle out the window that would make an Indian cry. It hits Patrick in the face and he screams, "Oh!" And then it cuts and he's in a coma. He gets hit in the face by a bottle, screams and moves around, and then he's in a coma. What? The opening is so stupid. The opening is so fucking stupid. It's amazing. I mean, it seriously made me laugh out loud both times now that I've watched it. And I knew it was coming. I knew exactly how it started. And both times now, I've laughed out loud because of how poorly it's done. But that's just like cheap, quick Italian cinema that's trying to rip off, some successful film. And I will say, okay, there is some good gore. There's a lot of like really good nudity, so of course that's something I'm gonna be a fan of in any movie, but especially slasher type movies. And I really like the music. Not all of it's amazing, but there's a good amount of it that feels very like, it feels like something out of an Argento film. So I am all about the music. The characters are all throwaway, just dreadful. The way things are set up in this, whether it be like an actual set where Patrick's just in a room in a bed and there's like two electrode type things hooked up to his like Frankenstein bolts in his neck. That looks ridiculous, but somehow memorable at the same time. So even though it looks bad, it's like I never get that out of my mind. So I guess technically good, in a weird way, but it just, everything feels so fucking cheap about it. And they do such a piss poor job of explaining to the characters why they are there. We get at the very end that Patrick's father is a doctor and he's keeping Patrick alive, and he's used these like 3 other comatose patients to draw power from, so Patrick can be more powerful with his telekinesis. How he has these powers and all that stuff, I who fucking knows. But regardless, he draws from these guinea pig type people, and he uses his powers. And of course, when we find out what's happening here, these are the 6 people that he hunted down that were in that car that that he's guessed. He doesn't even have proof. He just guessed that those are the people that must have done it. They must have put his kid in the coma. So they're there to kill Patrick. And this is kind of a retread of the first movie, because Patrick becomes obsessed with this nurse and will like kill to protect her. And that's exactly what happens here. His nurse is this fucking beautiful girl with an incredible body. Oh my God. It's funny because she's like second to last person to like bear all, and you don't even know if she's going to, because there's a few scenes where it looks like she's gonna, and then you're like, she doesn't, and then you're like, oh, she's gonna be one of those that's like, I don't want to show myself, whatever. And then at the end, this is the girl that's like literally fingering herself, and I think I was, whoa, okay, never mind. They were just saving, the best for second to last. But same thing. He becomes obsessed with her. He ends up having like, telekinetic sex with her. So she like, instead of like getting up on the bed and riding his dick, fucking him right there, his physical body is right there. I don't know why she just doesn't get on top of him, start sucking him off, or like fucking him. I mean, this movie could have showed it. But why she doesn't just fuck him when he's sitting right there, literally, and she just goes over to the couch next to him and then like starts fingering herself, and then she starts getting fucked by like a ghost, his telekinetic powers, and then she like bends over and even like takes a doggy and everything. It's like, now obviously a comatose patient can't do that. And he also uses like powers of like manipulation and mind control. So this girl isn't even really into it, so she like keeps kind of breaking out of the spell and then running away because she doesn't really have any interest in him, from what I can gather. So he's raping her. I mean, to control someone's mind into wanting to fuck you, and then as soon as they snap out of it, they're screaming and running from you. You're raping them. Even if you can control their mind into saying yes, you're still doing it without their actual consent. So, Patrick, you rapist son of a bitch. And one of the characters' name is Mr. Cough. Yeah, Mr. Cough. And then Patrick's dad, Dr. Unibrow, as I'd like to call him. Whoa, man. Like, I know that, you know, manscaping and even just kind of physical care like that, like, beauty touch-ups and whatnot might not have been popular back then, but dude, I mean, it is straight across, full-on connected hair. Like, it looks awful. It just looks awful. Like, he didn't think to be like, we're just gonna take my razor and get rid of that, go down to the barber, have him like kind of just shave that out in the center. Maybe back then people didn't care, but my good God, man, it is so apparent, so awful. And I love how the Italians are just so blasé about, their tits in this. Like, they're all just, like, one of them just sitting down at the pool with her top off, just around everybody very casually, and no one, of course, is noticing it, mentioning it, because it doesn't matter. Like, over there, they don't give a shit, which is great. They don't sexualize nudity, which, America is very repressed in that way. It's like, oh my God, a boob in its natural state is sexual. No, it is not. No, it is not. The human body is not sexual. Just being naked. That's your brain filling that in because you're seeing tits, and because we cover them all the time, and the only time we do see them is typically during sex or being teased or whatever sexually. We see breasts as sexual. And a breast just out on their own any day of the week is not sexual. Not it is to us because that's where we're conditioned, but not if you saw them all the time, you wouldn't care. Although at this point, now where I'm at in my mind and where I grew up with, it would take a lot. It would take years of being around nudity for me not to sexualize it. Like if I went to a topless beach, I would just be like, oh, Jesus Christ. All right. Try to act freaking, civil. Try to act. Oh, man, that'd be tough. But I can do it. I'm respectful. Lot of fucking female abuse in this movie. A lot of men slapping women around. Rest in peace, Sean Connery. But yeah, there is a scene where this guy, these two girls are like going at it. One of them, of course, is topless. They're fighting each other, and the guys like pull each other apart. And this dude just takes the girl and he just smacks her across the face. And there's another girl that's just walking up who's like the nurse. And she just casually strolls up as he fucking knocks this girl's face off. And she just like sets down like her drinks or whatever and like just does not pay any attention to it. And the guy screams at her something like, screaming women make me nervous. That's a good excuse for just completely manhandling a woman and beating her across the face. Sorry, your screaming has made me nervous, so I'm allowed to hit you now. There's a bra in this movie that literally just goes under the girl's tits. It does not cover her nipples at all. They just kind of cup the tits and they hold them up and make them perky so she can pop them in a dress or whatever. I've never seen a bra like that. Do bras like that exist? Where there's no coverage on the nipples, no coverage on anything. It's just kind of an under bra. It's a fucking nutty looking bra. And she's just walking around in it for like a 5-minute scene. It's hilarious. Dude, I'm not kidding. Like, the movie's an hour and a half long and 25 minutes of it is nudity. It's so much. I mean, pornos don't have this much nudity. But it never got old to me. Never got old to me. This old dude doesn't want to bang his hot young wife. What's the point of having her then? Like, he's clearly not into her. So it's just to like make him look good. He can't get it up no more, or like his sex drive is nothing. And their relationship is all over the fucking place. She's like, I hate you, you're a small man, fuck you, this and that. And then like 5 minutes later, they're like in the bathroom. She's like, forget everything I said, just make love to me. Fucking stupid. Oh my good God. Then one of the guys is cooked in a pool. Like he goes into a pool and the pool like gets so hot it like cooks his ass. So he like fish out of waters it and he's all burnt. And then people come up and the doctor that's there somehow convinces the people that the guy was an alcoholic, and sometimes there's a rare condition where when you consume too much alcohol, it can do that to your body. It can make you look like you were fucking boiled alive drinking in one night, and everyone bought it, and one of them I think is a doctor. What the fuck is happening in this movie? What the fuck is happening in this movie? You don't even have to be a doctor. You could be mentally handicapped, dude, and you're not gonna fall for that. So that, dude, no thought put into anything. I love it. And blah blah blah. Then this guy later on, the same guy who slapped the girl because girls make him nervous, screaming girls make him nervous. This girl tries to come on to him. I think it's the same chick. Yeah, it's the same chick he slaps earlier after her husband has been killed. She comes into the room and she tries to come on to him. And when she comes on to him, he fucking beats the shit out of her. He slaps her across the face and throws her around the room like for a good minute straight for her coming on to him. She's a very attractive woman. I have no idea. I have no fucking clue why he does this. He just like calls her a whore and just like beats the shit out of her. And then she's just kind of like, you bastard. Like she's just like so used to it. She's just not even that miffed by it. It's insane. And then we get to the most insane kill. One of the most insane kills I've ever seen in my life. And this is exactly why I bought this movie. And I've seen it, a couple times now. And looked for that copy for so long. Was because that girl, she, there's a fireplace poker that's floating because of Patrick. And it's coming at her slowly. And she gets up on the table and exposes her vagina for some fucking reason. I guess she's just trying to crawl away from it on the table. And this poker goes straight into her vagina. And we get a close-up of it in there moving around. And blood's just pouring out of it like this girl's having the heaviest flow ever. And then it just keeps like going up into her insides. And we like get an outside perspective of it up in her pussy. And she's just gushing blood. And then she like throws her head back and the fucking poker comes up through her mouth. That kill. And that's the kill that's cut from the DVD. That cut DVD. And it's like, why would I want this movie without that kill? That's like the main reason I want this film. So to see it completely uncut here was so great. Especially with the transfer and everything. The transfer looked fine. I mean, there's so much grain and it's such an old negative that I wasn't expecting, honestly, much better. So, it is what it is. It looks as good as it's probably ever going to look. I'm not buying another copy for sure. And I already talked about all that stuff. Then a girl gets her head basically... Well, she does eventually get it cut off, but in the scene, it only, cuts her neck up to, her spinal column. She tries to get out a car window, and the car window goes into her neck, and then it just keeps opening and closing, and opening and closing, and getting further into her neck, and it, cuts all the way up into her neck. That's pretty good. I do not believe that a car window could do that, but whatever. Maybe if the glass was, sharpened. but and it had a really strong motor. But it's Patrick, man. He has the power. I have the power. And then yeah, I mean, his dad is like, all right, come on, you got to kill everyone. I brought them here for you to kill. You've got to kill them, and then you got to kill this nurse. And he's just like, hell no, I'll kill you first, Dad. Which he does. He makes the dad give himself his own needle, and he's done for. And yeah, and then you've got this other chick who's like not even part of really anything. She's just like works there, and she's, of course, like throughout the whole film, she's not in it a ton, but she's shown, as I said, kind of sparingly, and then you don't think much of her, and then the whole like final chase sequence is for her, and of course she's in a nightgown, and the nightgown has been ripped open, and she's just running around with her tits flapping and fucking everywhere. She just does not cover them at all. The whole chase sequence, she's topless, and then she's eaten by dogs. She's just fucking mauled by these dogs. So yeah, pretty funny. And then yeah, I mean at the end, the nurse comes in and Patrick comes out of his coma. He moves his hand and she screams the end. I don't know. Does that mean? I mean, wouldn't Patrick be more powerful? Oh, asleep? Does he still have telekinetic powers while he's awake? If he is, then that's cool. But once he wakes up, is he done? I don't know. Man, this is a cheap ass movie. It's gonna bore the shit out of a lot of you. I don't think this is gonna be for many people, but I highly recommend at least catching that sex scene. Just because you're like, this isn't a fucking horror movie. This is pornography. This is straight up porno. And of course, the poker kill to the vagina. You just gotta see it to believe it. It is so insane, and it got my $30. It was like 27 plus tax and shipping and everything. I think the shipping was free. I don't remember. I think I paid like 30 some bucks for this, but I paid $30 for a poker in the vagina. Some people are into some kinky shit, I guess. But anyway, guys, that's yeah. I should eventually cover one of the original Patrick, maybe the remake. I remember they made a remake. I saw them both. I don't remember them much. This is the one that I always wanted to watch and review. So here we are. Patrick still lives. I can't believe that I have a copy, and now I have reviewed it on the channel. I always wanted to, and yeah, I think that's it. But it's an interesting film, no doubt about it, and definitely one that I think any Italian fan has to see. It's such a bizarre piece of Italian cinema history. So let me know if you ever watch it. Adios.